everybody, it's me, Marquita. I was making this one little video only because it's like I said, it's not a griping video, it's just a video, I guess, saying that I was lucky. Okay, I just come out and say it. I was watching a couple of videos and people was like, when a couple of people potty train their kids, and like I don't know personally about them because I'm not in their house. I don't know them personally, never met them, don't really want to. But when they were like, oh yeah, it took a week and a half to potty train, my kid. And everybody's like, yeah, right. It would take longer than that. No. I literally, and maybe my girls was ready to be potty trained. But when they were 3, I didn't start potty training them. I sit them down because I've always talked to my kids not like a baby. I always just talk to my kids because they're humans, like regular people. And what I told them, and I'm not, I'm not ashamed to say where I got some of my tips from because I'm giving shout out to these people. But Pop, if like when Pop was 4 and she was starting, she might have been 3.5. She might have been 3.5 or 4. But how she got potty trained and got weaned from her passy was her grandmother said, if you want to go to big girl school, you can't take your passy. Well, of course, it didn't technically work like that because it was you can't take it to school with you, but she let her have it in the morning when she got in the car, and then when she got out for big girl school, which was preschool, then she left it in the car, and then as soon as she got out of class, out of school, she would have her passy in the car, and then the rest of that day. What I said to my girls, because my girls never was really a passy person, I always had it clipped on their shirt in case they needed it. And when I seen that, okay, I'm buying a new pack of passies every other month. I'm like, okay. And I did that for once they got teeth, and I told them, I said, okay. I was like, these are your 3, Hannah, these are your 3, Savannah, these are your 3. I said, once we go through them, no, it was just 2, because it was the one that was on this thing, and then it was a backup. But I had the clip that you clip on the onesie, and or their shirt or whatever. And they only put the passies in their mouth just when they were ready to take a nap or go to bed. But they didn't use it during the day or anything. Unless, like I said, they were ready to lay down for a nap or when it was time to go to bed at night. And I told them, I was like, okay. I was like, you got this one. And I was like, you got one more. I was like, once that's gone, we got to throw it away in a big trash can, and then there's no more. they said, okay. And then Savannah was the first one to go through both of hers. And I said, okay, both of yours has a hole in it. No, I didn't cut it. Like, I'm like I said, I've always talked to my kids like they were regular people. Like I didn't like lie to them. And like when Savannah's second one got a hole in it, and I said, okay, Savannah, all yours is gone, so we got to throw them away. And she said, okay, thanks. And she was like, okay. And then she never cried. And it was like easy as that. Then Hannah, a week later, went through her second one. And like I said, it was always on their shirt. So, like, no, they didn't share passies. They had their own separate passies. So, no, Savannah was not sneaking, sucking on Hannah's passies, because she would have had to go over to Hannah and suck on the passy from Hannah's shirt. Like I said, I had it passing to them at all times in case they needed it. And then when Hannah went through hers, I said, okay, Hannah, that was your second one. There's no more passies. And she looked at me and she goes, okay. And that was that. And then with potty training, same with Pop. Her grandmother was like, if you want to go to big girl school, you have to have big girl panties. And Papa said, okay. And I think it took like 2 weeks for Pop, but she eventually got to where she was fully potty trained. So what I did was I said, okay, and I sit them down. The girls were 3. And I said, because like I had a potty, but they never used it. And I said, okay. And the potty that I had was the one that Damo, Damo Wilson, where she got Wick, or, Dominic, but Wick. When she got him, that looked like a real little porcelain toilet, but it was plastic. That's the ones that I got, both of my girls. I also had them ones that looked like little race cars. But they never used them. Like, they used to sit on the one that looked like a little race car, but they were just sitting on it as a seat. But this is like when they were like 2 something. But anyway, so at 3, I set them down and I said, okay, if you want big girl panties, we gotta go 1 whole day with no pee-pee and no poopy and your pull-up. And they said, okay. And I said, if you want big girl panties, I was like, that's what we're gonna do. We gotta go 1 whole day, no pee-pee and no poopy, and your pull-up. And then we can go to Walmart and you could pick out your own special big girl panties. And they said, okay. And the very next day, like, cause we went that full day, which I had the step stool and like the seat that goes on the toilet. So it wasn't like they just held their pee and poop for a whole day. No, like they knew how to slide the little step stool up, and they knew that their little seat was right beside the toilet. They knew that the wipes was right there and all that. And so the very next day when we got up, their pull-up was dry. And, no poopies, no pee-pee, which I thought Hannah would have been a little bit more because she has kidney reflux, but nope, hers was dry. And so I said, okay, we will go to Walmart and we will get you some big girl panties. And they went and they each got to pick out their own big girl panties. I think Hannah might have picked out Frozen, and Savannah, I think, picked out LOL dolls, or it was like something, like they picked out like 2 different packs. But that was their own personal big girl panties, and that's how they potty trained. But it was like one day. And knock on wood, but no accidents. So, like I said, I'm not coming on here griping. I'm just saying when people's like, no, it ain't no way that you could potty train your kid in like a week and a half. It's like, okay, I guess I'm just lucky because I did mine in one day. And no, that wasn't us practicing. Okay, sit on the potty. No, it was just I literally talked to them. I didn't say, okay, well, we're going to do this. I talked to them so that they knew what I was saying. Because I never was like, okay, baba, da da da. Like I might call it a sippy, but they knew that it was a cup. Like the biggest battle that I ever had with my kids was eating because they never liked it to eat. Like if Hannah could have, and that's why they didn't really, like they had solid food like a couple of times, but they really did not fully go on solid foods until they were almost 15 months. Like I didn't get to do the baby food stage. I didn't. I didn't get to do the stage where you smash the cake in their, in their little phase for their first birthday. I tried, like it's on video. They didn't like sweet. They didn't. They didn't like cake. They didn't like cookies. They never tried to steal my food as kids. I didn't get to do the baby food because of their stomach issues. And like I said, they didn't like to eat. So up to they were 14 months, really 13 months, they were their baby formula that they were on from birth. And then they switched over to toddler formula. And then we started with solid food. The reason why they were on that for so long was for the calories. It wasn't that they didn't know how to eat. It was they never were hungry. And if Hannah could have just went fully with just drinking, then that's what she would have done. But that was like my biggest struggle, was them eating. That's why they were on the high calorie baby formula and the high calorie infant or toddler formula because they didn't like to eat. And that's what they were getting most of their calories from. When, like in the beginning, before they started eating solid foods. Like I said, to the people that said that they potty trained their kids in a week and a half, I believe them. Because like I said, my kids could have just been ready. But I potty trained my kids literally in one day. And I literally didn't even do anything. I explained it to them. And because they're very smart, they understood what I was saying. Like I said, we didn't do the okay, well, we're going to sit on the potty until you pick. No. Because if they would have used their pull-ups, I wouldn't have gotten mad at them. I would have just explained to them again what with words. But I didn't need to, because they understood what I said, because I was talking to them like a normal person. I wasn't talking to them like in baby words. I just explained, if you want big girl panties, we gotta keep your pool up dry for one whole day. And they did. I'm just saying.